Today, we are joined by Nicki Petrossi, a former social media executive turned outspoken advocate for protecting kids online. After 15 years inside the industry, she saw firsthand how toxic these platforms can be and decided to do something about it. Now, through her popular podcast, Scrolling to Death, she's taking on big tech, pushing for change, and helping families fight back. Nicki, thank you for coming to the ATL.
Thank you for having me. This is my first time to Atlanta.
Oh, wow. I should have known that sooner than this
I'm
moment.
here for, 18 hours?
Oh, yeah. Not enough time.
No, it's okay. I'll come back.
So we were talking off camera about the plane ride here from California.
Yeah.
And you watched what movie?
Erin Brockovich for the first time.
For the first time ever. Okay, so if you have any semblance of understanding of what Nicki does, you get the parallel. Like, Erin Brockovich was like, this is not right. I can't believe nobody's doing anything about this. I'm going to do something about this. And that's exactly what you've done.
I can see that. There's a lot of things, maybe not. I didn't,
Right, no.
But she
You know where I was
did. She
going with
wasn't
that.
afraid. She wasn't afraid to
No.
speak up. And I see that so much with parents and the stuff that we deal with. It's like hard to have confrontation about tech with the school or with friends or just speak up about this stuff. It feels judgy. It feels a lot of things. So thank you for that compliment. She was a badass.
100%. 100%. Whether you're talking about Julia Roberts or Erin Brockovich, the role she played or the actual Erin Brockovich, like all applauded, in the same camp as Nicki Petrossi.
Yeah.
Amazing, courageous, strong women doing big things.
Thank you.
Big things that other people wouldn't even dream to touch.
That's really nice.
It's true.
Thank you.
I'm not here to blow smoke. None of us have time for that.
I know. But I'm just like a regular mom, just like all the other moms.
Cool mom.
I'm a cool mom. Oh, God.
Okay, so you spent 15 years running a successful social media company. What were the questions you started to have that eventually led to starting Scrolling to Death?
I was posting my kids, right, on social media like everyone was doing up through probably 2019.
Okay.
And my daughter was 4 going on 5, and she really liked to dance. And I always would post her dancing. She's a really good dancer. And then I started to feel weird about it. Like she's getting a little older and it's her body and she's shaking it and I'm putting it online. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So I remember asking myself those questions and feeling like something was wrong. And then Social Dilemma came out in 2020. And up till then, maybe 6 months before then, I had stopped posting my kids at all. And then I also don't post myself online, which is funny. Before this,
Right.
Before this job, I wasn't really into posting myself. So then I had an Instagram for to creep on people, and I wasn't posting anything. And so I was like, I'm just going to delete it. And then I went 3.5 years without any social media and felt really, really great about that. But anyway, it was those early thoughts about posting my kids that I came into this work with and then learned a lot from there.
So there's so many parallels here. We just had Sarah of Mom Uncharted right where you're sitting.
Yeah.
And she actually used a term, I think it was ghost scrolling, which I'd never even heard of before, but definitely was part of that. And like you, I used to post pictures of my only son online, even when I had a private account. But I still had too many friends to justify what I was sharing about him.
Yeah.
And something didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And I'm glad for that realization. And so, how did we get from not feeling great about posting kids online, not ever posting yourself on social, taking a 3-year break from social, to then scrolling to death? How long did it take you to even come up with a name and the concept? And, and also how did you decide I'm going to do a podcast?
I think through that time I was off of social, but everyone else was still using it and really addicted to it. And I was getting increasingly confused about why everyone else was still using it all the time and posting all their kids when we know now a little bit more about why that's bad. But I remember one night was at dinner with a friend, and there was a mom next to me with her son, and they were just on a mom-son date night. And he pulled out a phone, and he was maybe 9 or 10. He pulled out a device and was on it the entire dinner, and she was on her device just sipping her wine, and they didn't talk to each other the whole time.
Wow.
And I couldn't process it. And then on the other side of me was a teenage girl with her mom and her grandma, and she looked so miserable to be there. She didn't talk to her grandmother the whole time, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, if I could only talk to my grandma again. Like, I just was like, take advantage of this time with your grandma. And she kept pulling out her phone and being distracted. And then so my friend and I, we were talking about this as it was happening, and we're like, this needs to be out there. Like, someone needs to breach this conversation and be like, this is not okay what's happening. I'm sorry if it sounds judgy, but it's not okay. And so then we have a little piece of paper we scribbled on, and we were like, scroll and something. Like, we couldn't think of it. And then my dear friend Elena from childhood, I was talking to her about it the next week, and she was like, scrolling to death. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, bored to death.
Right.
So but I think through that time, I also realized that the suicide rates for young kids were so high. And then also that was linked to the amount of time they're spending scrolling. And so I wanted to really highlight the fact that the more our kids are online, like, the more suicidal they can become, the more opportunities they have to engage with content that can make them feel sad, but also put them in really near, life or death situations. And so that was the impetus of it, and started interviewing parent survivors pretty quickly that have lost children to something that happened on social media, and it just rolled on from there. I couldn't believe how many parents I ended up getting connected with that were in that position.
Who was your first interview?
Kristen Bride was my first parent survivor. She lost her son, Carson. But the first 2 episodes were, is social media safe? And then social media and suicide, just dissecting the link between the two. And I brought up Kristen on the episode, and I had said, I really wish I could talk to her one day. And I thought, there's no way that I'm going to connect with this mom. Like, it was almost like I was fangirling over her, because she was out talking about this horrible experience she had, but to educate other parents. And the fact that I don't remember how I ended up getting connected with her, but she heard that episode, and then we ended up connecting. And so, yeah, I love you, Kristen.
I think it's fate. I think it's because you are leaning into your purpose. There are bigger things happening at play than I think any one of us can see. You're making an impact beyond just your following and the content that you're sharing. You're impacting laws. You're saving lives. You're reversing the phone-based childhood, to take that from Jonathan Haidt, not my phrase. There's so many things we can talk about, but I want to know what you're most proud of when it comes to your involvement with legislative efforts, specifically around big tech, social media, and their harms on children.
Yeah, so because the social media companies themselves won't make the choice to be safer for children, we have to pass laws to force them to.
Yeah.
And so, we haven't been super successful since I've been involved, I would say. Like, we passed one bill this year federally, but we're still working on a lot, and I think there's progress. But one thing that I'm proud of is, I remember the first time I walked through the Senate building or the Hill, like the buildings on the Hill, to meet with Congress people and senators, feeling so intimidated. Like, this is crazy. I can't believe I'm here. What am I going to say? When are they going to want me to talk? What the heck, like, am I doing? And then after 2 and 3 and 4 times doing this, now I'm like leading the group, and I'm like the first one to talk. I'm introducing everybody, and I'm like, you speak now. This is what we need from you. And it's like the it's not actually that scary when you do it, because they're there to hear us. They're there to make decisions that align with our values as their constituents. So I think, like, I'm proud that I've been able to hopefully show that to other parents, that they can advocate in their states and districts and things like that for whatever their passion area is.
Where do you get your confidence from?
I don't know. Am I feeling confident right now?
You're very confident. You're very confident,
yeah,
and you're trustworthy. You're capable. You convey a sense of, like, authenticity.
Yeah.
But like, let's not BS each other here.
Yeah.
And that's a great recipe for getting things done, which is why I think you've been able to get so much done.
Yeah. I think, I mean, everyone works from a place of like, what's that, fake it till you make it, or like
imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome, right? So I think there was a little bit of that going on for a while. And still I'm in situations where I'm like on the news, which you've done a million times, but I'm like, okay, everyone's listening to me all over the country. Like, I hope I know what I'm talking about. And sometimes you don't get it exactly right. Like, and that's okay too. So I think it's a little bit of fake it till you make it, but it's just I don't know how many hours spent digging into this and really studying the decisions of the social media companies when a research report comes out, like reading it line by line, when a legal complaint gets sent to me, really digging in so that when I am portraying that to a busy parent who doesn't have time to read through it, like they're going to get the facts from me that they need to know because I did the work and studied it. So,
well, and again, Erin Brockovich vibes. It'd be one thing if the things that you surfaced were not true, but they are.
Mm-hmm.
And are you able to share, publicly at least, have any of the big platforms, Meta, Apple, Snapchat, you name it, have any of their teams reached out to you to maybe try to correct or redact things? Like, have you infiltrated the walls?
Yeah, I had one call with Snapchat. This was last year, so pretty early on. They saw something I put out. They wanted to correct me. And I didn't like agree with their correction in the end. And I did ask to record the call. And then after I recorded it on their video platform that we were meeting on, and I recorded it, and then it didn't have any audio. And so I was like, interesting. They didn't want me to record that. Haven't had any more interaction with them since. But TikTok seems to show up when I speak places. Like there's someone from TikTok in the room often.
Weird.
That's weird. And then people at Meta look at my LinkedIn profile like every day. I don't know what's going on there.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You know how you can see that?
Yes. Right. Like, they should know how social media works.
I know. And all those ed tech companies that I'm suing, they all look at my profile too.
Oh my gosh.
It's fun. It's funny. I'm glad I tag them because I want them to see what we're talking about.
Yeah, we are talking about you.
Yeah.
And if this isn't true, like, please correct me.
Change it and also do better. You know?
Right. Just do better.
Yeah.
I love that. So you've built an incredible following and community for Scrolling to Death. What was that first inflection point that you saw when you were like, oh, I'm onto something?
I think, when you post a video on Instagram, you never know how it's going to do, right? And you don't know why some do better than others. You kind of leave it up to them. And so there's certain weeks where it's like goes crazy. Something goes viral. You're getting hundreds of messages a day or thousands of new followers a day. And you're like, whoa, this is like wild. But I think the thing that I felt the most support and resonance from parents was when I found self-harm content being served to my daughter's school-issued iPad in her third grade class. And I posted that reaction right away online. And people still watch that every single day. And it really got a lot of parents commenting like, oh, I'm going to go check mine now. Or I had no idea that could happen. Why do the schools have YouTube freely available like that? And so it got a lot of conversations started and a lot of great feedback from parents regarding just like, oh, I didn't know that. Thank you for showing that. And I will go check now. So that was like an important moment, I think, sharing that.
We have had a lot of cool moments together, whether it was experiencing some powerful speakers at the End Exploitation Summit, or hearing Jonathan Haidt speak in Santa Barbara. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Calling out the American Academy of Pediatrics. I was like, oh, snap.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
but
good.
Seriously, like, where are you? Where are you?
Yep.
Waiting.
Yeah.
And the National PTA. Like, how about you get out of bed with Meta?
Yeah.
And, like, actually help kids.
Yeah. The book Better Than Real Life goes into all of that.
Better Than Real Life?
Yeah, what is his name? I interviewed him now. I can't remember.
We'll find it.
Yeah.
We can drop it in the comments.
Fact check the comment. Yeah, so he went into detail and chapters on all of that, and I think it's really fascinating. It's called Better Than Real Life.
Okay, yeah. I will be reading that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Sure.
I have been pretty outspoken about what I wish I would have done differently with my son who's now 16. Like, I'm out here preaching, judging, not really, but like I'm out here giving advice that I did not follow, that I wish I did.
Yeah.
So I guess I want to kind of dive into, as a mom, what are you doing to protect your kids from the harms of tech? Obviously your kids don't have social media and probably won't till at least 16, right?
Right.
But yeah, like what are you walking the walk, talking the talk, or there's some areas where you're like, even I struggle with tech and my kids?
Yeah, so I just do no solo media for them at all, so they don't engage with any devices that they can hold. Okay. So we have, we have one TV in our house, and then I have my phone, and they don't touch my phone. Like, if they want to look at
what a concept.
Like, it's not allowed. Like, even my daughter was like, hey, can I look at the time on your phone? So she won't even like grab it to like check the time. I know.
Nikki,
sorry.
Oh my gosh, you need to write a manual of like, this is how you do this.
It's just not, it's a no-go. Like, it's just not for kids. So you can't use it there's clocks on the wall. Just look at the wall. But so we do tech together. We do no solo media. So whenever they do watch the TV, I'm with them watching too. So we typically watch a lot of movies, at like a movie 3 nights a week. Like, so we do a lot of movie watching, but they never are on the TV without me there sitting next to them. So I guess that's walking the walk. I mean, I will say I'm not the best about not using my phone in front of them. I try my best to narrate if I'm doing something, but there's definitely work to be done there, and they call me out on it. So that's something I'm working on. Also, we are now in 2 households, so almost divorced. But so now I'm navigating the scary thing of like making sure, trying to influence what's going on at the other household, which is really overwhelming and something I hear from parents all the time that they're struggling with. Yeah. And so that'll be fun to deal with that soon. But I do think my ex is really passionate about this too, and follows along, and so I think everything will be fine.
Good. Yeah, that alignment as co-parents for what's best for your children is critical.
Yeah.
What about like babysitters, other people watching your kids?
Yeah.
Same rules?
Yeah, so we have a passcode on the TV that the kids don't know, and
Great.
So babysitters will text and say, what's the passcode? And I say, nope, TV during the day.
Nope.
Or, if it's nighttime and they're getting babysat, yes, you can watch a movie. But it was just recently a babysitter asked if she could get the code to watch something in the middle of the day. And I said, no TV during the day.
Yeah.
And not even apologizing. Like, it's just
you
a
shouldn't
rule.
Apologize.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you were paying for a service.
I know.
Not for veg out time.
Yeah.
So.
Agree.
Cool. Man, like, again, like the confidence, the life advice. If we could all just have what I don't like, where did this come from? Just that gumption. That's such an old word.
Yeah, I love
but like
that word.
It's the word that I'm thinking of. Like,
yeah,
just no.
I just want parents to know that no is okay. Like, and no, none is fine. Like, no screen time is fine. And I do believe my kids will be better off for it.
I agree.
I'm really confident in my decision. And you know what it is? Because of hearing thousands now of stories of harm. Like, that's got to be it, as far as all the different ways your children can be harmed, the horrible things and like the more minor things, all of it is way too scary. And I know too much. So it's just a no. And my kids know a lot of, and it's informing them and making sure they understand why. And so I'm bringing my son next week to a memorial event in D.C. and a protest at Apple.
Wow.
Please don't publish this before then. But so it will, just bringing them in on the conversation in age-appropriate ways is really important too. But I think that's where the confidence comes from, because you'll do anything to protect your children.
Yes, you will. There's 2 things that you talked about I wanted to zoom in on. One is you narrate, and I just want to expand on that. Like, if I have my laptop open while we're having family movie time, it's like, hey, I got an email from my boss.
Yeah.
Shout out Brian Basin. And I'm going to respond to him. And then I'm going to shut this and get back to the movie. Like letting them know what you're doing with the text, so they can understand you're not just like scrolling Instagram.
Yeah.
To not be present with them is really important.
Yeah.
And then another thing that you were talking about, just knowing too much, it's like before there were laws passed that children had to wear bicycle helmets, if you were an ER doctor and saw multiple children come in with injuries that could have been prevented from a helmet, you're like, I don't care what the law says.
Yeah.
I know too much.
Yeah.
And there's no difference there. So, Nicki, if you could go back and do one thing differently when it comes to your kids in tech, what would it be?
Oh, geez. I mean, I regret posting them online, but I have gone back and deleted everything. I'm not a big regretter, so this is a little bit of a tough one
Confidence?
for me.
More confidence. Are you picking up on the confidence?
But I think, I probably kept them in the public school system too long using those school issue devices. I knew years ago that was not safe for them, and I let it get to a point where their data has been taken by so many different ed tech companies, thousands of videos and audio that's now in their files being sold and shared with other companies. And so that scares me, and I'm taking legal action against these companies to try to take control back of that data that I did not consent for them to take. So that's a regret, I guess, for sure.
Yeah. You've tackled a lot of big issues, but one of the biggest issues that parents feel completely helpless over is the tech that their kids' school issues to them. And you're like, don't care. Don't care. We're going to talk about what's right.
Yeah.
And so we're obviously going to have links to how to get in touch with Nicki, listen to her podcast, watch it, follow all of her socials. But on her website, the resources alone are golden. I mean, the guides for how to write an email to the key stakeholders in your district, and what to say at your PTA meeting, and how to opt out. And like, we don't have to accept this.
Yeah. And that's all at techsafelearning.org. And there's a couple dozen resources. And it is email templates. It's research. It's school board meeting speech templates. Anything that can help you advocate just for safer tech use at school. So just like you can make all these safe decisions at home, but then they go to school and still get exposed to some of the same harms. And so it's important to expand this conversation to the school.
Yeah, it's horrific. I have parents writing me from the middle school that my son used to go to saying, blank county issued this Chromebook to my child, and my child is watching pornography on campus.
Yeah.
How can this be? And I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
I know. And there's not much that I can do about it.
Yeah. I think the end goal is just reducing the use that kids, this one-to-one program that was an emergency measure during COVID, we should have taken a step back from that once we went back to school, and we should have put computers back in a cart that they have to check out when they need it, but then they give it back. Because there's something about a child having ownership over the device and bringing it home that gives them too much time with it, figuring out ways around all the parental controls, and it's not good.
Well, and not only that, but if your child is sent home with a Chromebook and there aren't instructions accompanying it for how to, maybe don't allow it in the bedroom overnight, or set up some basic parental controls.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that. You can't do that.
And I don't think any of that is, hopefully schools are now starting to do that. But in my experience, no instruction on how to help keep your child safe on those devices is coming to the parent.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're working on it.
Okay, good.
Yeah. But it's silly that it's not there yet.
Yeah.
It's not live. What are we doing?
I don't know. I think schools think that it's as safe as it can be, and they don't want to take any liability if something unsafe happens at home. And so maybe they don't want to cross a certain line of letting parents know that it can be unsafe, because then they may be liable. There may be something around that.
Or they're inviting even more emails and phone calls and meetings, right?
Yeah.
And they're underpaid, overworked.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
And kids today, man, this is a whole different level of just what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
If you're in the education space, I have a lot of empathy for you.
Yeah. And I encourage parents, too, to look at other school options. I know everyone can't afford, like, a Waldorf or one of these expensive low-tech schools. There are a lot of options, though. Christian schools, especially some religious programs, have low tech, but I was able to find a classical charter school, so still free and covered by taxes, but it's a charter, so very, very small school, but very, very low tech. So I was able to find that
That's
close
amazing.
by. So there are options, and a lot of parents homeschool too.
Yeah. No, you're smart. I learned so much from this amazing human, whether it's turning my phone to grayscale to make it less appealing, to we were at the End Exploitation Conference and Nicki looked at my phone. She's like, why do you have all these notifications? I'm like, that's a great question. Like,
she was getting notifications when she gets a like on Instagram. That's got to be like 1,000 a day. I was like, why would you want that?
I don't even remember turning it on.
Okay.
It was just there.
Right. And then it just takes a few minutes to turn it off.
Right. No, yeah. Yep. Yeah. I need more Nicki in my life.
Oh, God.
What do you say to parents who are struggling with allowing their kids to have social media or not?
So I realized that this is a big issue. I've gotten many messages about this, but just last week I got a message from a mom. She's like, my 14-year-old is begging for it. She says she's the stupid girl who doesn't have it, and she's the like little girl, like they make fun of her because she doesn't have it. And she said she's 14 and her mom is trying to keep delaying. And she's like, I need help trying to convince her. And I realized like I have too many episodes for a parent to weed through to make the case. And a lot of parents have told me it's helpful to have like an interview to show them or somebody else to have it to explain it to them on why it's not safe for them. And so I did a little template really quick of like 10 or 11 episodes that you and your teen can watch or listen to make the case against Instagram. And then someone's like, can you do one for Snapchat? And I'm like, yeah. So now that's my thought is like, here's some content that you guys can watch together. Because I think the key is explaining to them why it's not safe, that it was not built for children. It's not safe for children. And that it sucks. It sucks that they don't have it, and most of their friends do.
Yeah.
And so you're going to support them in every way you can to connect with their friends in different ways and be there for them when it's hard. But you're still going to stick to your guns on this, that it's not safe for them, and they will thank you one day. I always tell parents too.
I 100% agree. The biggest argument or pushback or struggle that parents share is that I don't want my kid to be left out. And they're going to be left out. And I continue to say, you want them to be left out of all of the harmful things that they are going to encounter.
Yeah.
Sure, they might be more included in what's happening in real time by looking at snap maps.
Yeah.
But that also means the drama, the fear of missing out. I mean, I don't need to tell you, I'm preaching the choir. But we're here to tell all of you.
Yeah.
It is okay for your child to be left out. You do need to prioritize helping them to have some sort of authentic human connection, ideally in real life.
Yeah.
Sports, music, art, faith-based groups.
Yeah.
Something. But your child can be a healthy, happy individual by not having social media. In fact, healthier than the rest of their friends.
Much healthier. All those risks on social media are way worse than any left out feeling. And the left out feeling is big too, acknowledging that. But one doctor I talked to said, if they may feel left out, but you let them on social media, they're still left out. They're just going to find out about it. Because you realize you're not in that chat, or you're not number one on the top 8 list on Snapchat or whatever of this, or your boyfriend's now at this other person's house. Like, why didn't they invite me over? Like, all of these things that you get exposed to, like, you're still left out.
You're not only left out, but you feel like you're not enough. So let's let our kids go places where they're still going to feel left out and feel like they're not enough.
Right.
How is that a good idea?
Yeah, and prey on all those insecurities with the functionality that social media pushes
algorithm.
at them. Yeah, it's like
no.
It's just it has to be a no, and we all have to delay together.
Yes.
And we have to be strong and confident enough in that decision, and hopefully the stuff that we both create helps parents to push that back and make that case.
If money, time, resources were no object, what would you be doing with the knowledge that you have now?
People started asking me things like that, and I would love to put more work into getting laws passed, to do more there. There's a lot to be done, especially around the ed tech space and AI and all of that. I would love to start interviewing people in person like this and meeting more people. I think the conversations are, even though I have great conversations on my podcast, but it's just so much more natural and like, I don't know, it resonates more when you're in person. I think that I want to do more direct action. So meaning I've identified a lot of problems with social media platforms and different things online. I want to do more solutions oriented work. So like trying to figure out how to help or how to force the companies to make positive changes. So what are those changes that they can make and how do we get them to do it? So I have partnered with Heat Initiative recently, and I'm going to be doing some more of that solutions oriented work with them.
Love Heat Initiative.
Yeah. So, and then also working with some of the social media companies that are building safer options that are built by really responsible people to try to give some competition to the market so that we don't have these big behemoths that we like can't even touch, and we have some safer options to push people towards, whether that's adults or older teens.
What's something that most people don't know about you?
Do you know something about me that
I don't know. I'm like, we're giving you the behind the scenes exclusive with Nicki Petrossi. You only see the scrolling to death, but now you're gonna see the cool former soccer player. Can I drop that out?
Sure, I was. Yeah. I mean, I didn't play in college. My sister played at USC and won national championships, so she's the real soccer star. But my parents, so I grew up in a pizza place. So my parents owned a pizza place my whole life for almost 40 years. So that's like, it's like the pizza girl.
That's so cool.
So yeah, it was like, and it's a franchise still open in Southern California and different states, and it's like my grandma's sauce. So yeah, I like cooking, and I like cooking Italian food, and so that's like
people wouldn't know that by following your profile.
Okay, because I don't want to make it like I'm not trying to make it like an influencer profile, because I don't know. I think there's a hard line there. I'm telling you, I didn't like sharing about myself online. So it's been interesting, like, what do I share of the personal stuff so people know I'm like a real human being, like a regular girl, but not give too much away, because I don't know, it turns me off a little bit, like the oversharing.
I get it. I won't ask anymore.
No, like, you can. Like, I'll say no if I don't want to answer.
That's true. That's true. What can everybody watching and listening do more of to just support you, put wind in your sails? If they're not already following you, obviously follow you. Mm-hmm. What else? How can we contribute to the momentum of what you're doing?
Yeah, so I love to hear from people if you have suggestions or something you're looking for. I did also just launch a nonprofit. So at Scrolling to Death, you can donate to support all of the work.
Oh my gosh.
So it's called S2D Foundation. And so that's new.
Yes.
I feel weird saying that, but there is so much more I could do if there was some funding there coming in, and not, having to do a lot of different partnerships to keep funding the work. But although I love my partnerships, but I'm trying not to have that be the focus of the funding. And so
it's smart.
Yeah. So that is there for people if they're interested. You can do like a monthly donation or one time or whatever. But
wow.
Yeah.
This is big, Nicki. I'm so glad that you dropped this here.
Thank you.
The S2D Foundation reaches over 1 million parents weekly.
So that's, with all the different platforms now, that's the reach. And it really just shows how important this topic is to parents, that if you're willing to talk about it and face these hard topics, like, parents get it. They know it's hard and they want help with it. So that's what I'm trying to do, is help.
I have chills. I did not know this existed when I asked this question. I'm stoked that you have this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Outside of following, commenting for engagement, to get the content to spread even further, please donate to the Scrolling to Death nonprofit, the S2D Foundation.
Thank you.
I couldn't think of a better way to spend dollars, right? You're saving lives, so thank you.
Thank you, Titania. That's nice.
Well, it's true. That's the overarching theme of today, is like, not nice but true.
Yeah, and I think that it all comes back to the saving lives thing. Like, it's the parents who've lost children. It's them. It's them that give me the passion and the strength to do this, because they're the ones sharing that story every day, and the worst day of their lives every day to save other kids. And so I'm just like amplifying those stories. And so I always want to like point back to their strength.
I'm so glad you did. You know, we had Sam Chapman here a few weeks ago, and every time they've got to relive the worst day of their life. And what so many things gut me, but when you hear about the social media platform's response to the death of a child, or lack of response, or hindering first responders from getting the data they need, you have no choice but to be outraged and do something about it like you've done.
Yeah. It's horrific. When you have read through some of the things I've read through, the way these platforms delete data, and I mean the alleged things that they've done in these lawsuits, it's like, holy crap, they really don't care about our kids at all.
And they have kids.
And they don't let them on the social media platforms themselves. So their kids can be safe, but not ours.
Are you privy to any of the documents that are in discovery right now from what's happening with the Snapchat lawsuit?
Yeah, through what state was that? New Mexico? No. You mean for the fentanyl case? So I know that. So there are 60 plus families with 100 plus more in the wings suing Snapchat for the death of their children because of the connection to a drug dealer, and then that child was sold fentanyl and passed. So that case is moving forward slowly but surely. There's actually a hearing next week, I believe, in LA. And so I know, I've heard that the discovery so far has been going well from the parents' attorneys, and that it's worse than we thought. What Snapchat knew and when they knew it. I do know, I also heard Snapchat's lawyers say that they're having to go through something like 160,000 snaps, or some enormous number of snaps that these children had been putting out there or exchanging with different dealers and friends. And so it's a really big case and a really important case, and I think we're going to see a lot of change just from these lawsuits themselves and their arduous processes. Like, these parents are these Snapchat attorneys, for example, are going to go in and dig into these kids' past and try to prove that they were drug addicts or drug dealers themselves, or try to point the finger back at these children. And so this is a hard thing these parents are choosing to do, just to reveal the gaps in the safety processes at these companies. And so I think it's something I'm following really closely and would like to do more of too.
I am anxiously awaiting more to come out from that discovery. It's going to be angering. Angering, is that angersome? Angering. It's going to make me mad.
Infuriating.
Thank you. I went to college. It's going to be infuriating. And not to make light of a serious issue, but it's going to be incredibly eye-opening. What have we not talked about today? What do you feel is so important for our combined audiences to hear?
I mean, generally, just to touch on AI, like AI, kids engaging with AI has proven to be really dangerous. These chatbots on all the social media platforms, any of the chatbots that kids can interact with through any apps that are available in the App Store. But they're saying inappropriate things. There's just misinformation. And I think parents just need to be very aware of AI and wary of AI right now. And so I just always tell parents, like, use it. If your kid's going to use AI, you need to be sitting next to them legitimately.
100%.
Like, this is not a solo opportunity for them. And then also that there was a moratorium on state AI regulation that slipped through with the budget bill, slipped through the House. And so right now the Senate is considering this bill, and there's a potential ban on any state regulation of AI for 10 years. And so we need to say no thank you. Like, we need to at least allow states to protect kids from AI harms. And so while still allowing for technological innovation, but let's protect kids in the process. And so there's a couple petitions that we can make available in the episode notes for that.
Absolutely. Even if you haven't embraced AI, chatbots, ChatGPT, whatever, you kind of have to figure it out. It's time to at least dip your toe in the water.
Yeah.
Reach out to us if you're like, where do I start? Because your kids absolutely are encountering it, and you've got to be in the know. And we're here to help.
Yeah.
Nicki, thank you for all that you are doing, for the determination, the work ethic, your confidence, your courage. I can't wait to see what the next year and beyond holds for you, and it is an honor to both work with you and call you a friend.
Thank you, Titania. The feeling's mutual, and I love all of your team. This has been such a joy just working with you and getting to know you and everybody on Bark's team. So thank you. Thanks.
Yay. Go Bark. Go scrolling to death.